I want to say all praises and honor unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers out there pushing this truth. In all sincerity and in all honesty. This is a brother from James, Jamaica camp. Yashamai. I don't want to do a video on famine. Right, because we see how the famine basically come upon us, swiftly and speedily right now. Right? And this will basically bring a lot of chaos, right? A lot of basically destruction right across the world. Right?
And basically we see all of the destruction in the media right now. Even with the Jada and Will Smith and Chris Rock, the whole saga going on right now. See? And we know see them things are just destruction. Steer people's mind from the real agenda ahead, man.
But what will basically take place, what they are about to do. Yeah?
So, hey, you have crisis actors and people. Yeah, because that's how the devil work. It says scripture says we are not ignorant of his devices, man. See? So we have to just keep focused and occupied in prophecies as the scripture says, man.
Good.
See? So you ready for the this is an article Politico News. It says get ready for hell. UN food chief warns amid Ukraine shockwaves. See? It says the World Food Program flags famine risk in Africa and the Middle East as Ukraine war its supplies. And remember 2 years ago them basically that's they got famine of biblical proportion coming out. You have the article from back in 2020, 2021, and they say it affect sub-Saharan countries. So basically these countries that I talk about a sub-Saharan country, and this was long before the Ukraine war. So we can see that these things were planned. Even the war take place now, something will get put in place to bring forth their agenda what they want to do. Because what we're seeing here was spoken about a year or two back. So it will affect these sub-Saharan and Middle East countries, man. Even over here in the Caribbean, in the Americas. See? So all of these things were planned. See?
By the elites. Right? And basically bring forth the great reset. Right, they will basically take place. Right, in the time to come, because the elites are planning a reset, basically come and start back all over after this coming nuclear destruction. But really and truly, our kingdom is next. Yahushai, King David and down going to basically rule the kingdom, the kingdom to come. Right, so all our east side, Edom and the elites, top wealthy families of this earth right now is just basically fulfill prophecy. Right, so Yahushai can basically come and set about the earth in order.
That's
right. Because all of them are going to lead up to that. Alright, give me a scripture, brother. Give me Job 20 and verse 22.
This is the book Job 20 and verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits.
So you say in the fullness of his sufficiency, right? Talking about the elites, because them are the one who plan, this coming destruction.
Which is right.
Right. It basically uses destruction, this third world war destruction in order to basically bring forth the new world order.
Which is right, man.
Right. So all the shortage of food, you see, all even going back to even last year, you see a lot of ships come up to the border, America, and could basically come, let off. Yeah. Certain shipment, the ship was on crossway, all these things coming up was basically was planned, are designed by these men in order to basically bring forth this famine. Right, because this famine now what they are use in order to make people, accept this digital device, Revelation 13 and 16. Right? And we know that. Right, what the scripture tells us, say in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straight. right, might basically be in a position of difficulty. Go on.
Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him.
Go on, and the word wicked, let's go back to the Hebrew word aimal. Basically mean a laborer. Go on.
It says, when he is about to fill his belly.
So when you're about to accomplish the new world order, so all the things we see happening right now, you know, the war that take place in Ukraine, you know, the sanction and all these things, the back and forward, you know, you see the news, the nuclear threat, the ultimately going to take place, a nuclear destruction, the ultimate going to take place according to prophecy, right? All these things where Esau, Edom, are going to lead up to one thing, right? The Haushai, you know, the man of people ignorantly called Jesus, are come and destroy the whole plan. They just want to reach that level.
That's right, man.
You know, to the new world order. Right? When them think them will get it fully. Right? This is what the scripture says will take place here. Right, go on, brother.
It says, when he's about to fill, it says, when he's about to fill his belly,
Gone.
Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him,
Gone.
and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
So Yahweh shall rain it upon him while he's eating. Go on.
See? He shall he shall flee from the iron weapon.
So they're gonna flee from the ICBM missile they're gonna use, you know, in this coming destruction. You know, as I mentioned, you know, nuclear threat we see in the news now, ultimately gonna take place. Right? This is a future prophecy. Right? So the scripture says they're gonna flee from the iron weapon, which is the ICBM missile. They come from Russia, China, Europe, North Korea, all these countries across the world have the ICBM missile. They're gonna run in their bunkers to hide. Right? They're already preparing their bunkers to basically hide out this destruction. Right? So they're going to flee to them bunkers to hide. One.
It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon.
One.
And the bow of steel shall strike him through.
One.
It says, it is drawn out. It is drawn. No, it is drawn.
One.
And cometh out of the body.
And cometh out of basically what? The nuclear silo. Where these missiles come from. Right, these ICBM missiles. Go on.
Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall.
Gone.
Terrors are upon him.
Gone.
See? Let's get back to the article here. There's, back to the article here. It says the head of the world's biggest food agency as stark warning for European leaders pay more. It says pay more now to starve off global hunger or suffer in a migration crisis later. So basically, I tell them to be when you start looking to basically help out these people from Africa and from Middle Eastern countries, because guess what? You're not going to have a migration problem further. When these people start get hungry, they're going to head to Europe. If we not basically spend some money to control the hunger problem we're going to take place down there, man. See? Hey, we know all of these things are going to come. See? And how the elite them want it. It going to happen, man. And how Yahweh want it to happen, it going to happen, man.
Because Heavenly Father use these men in order to basically do all these things, so the prophecies written can basically be fulfilled. Right? Says, ultimately, go on.
It says Russia war in Ukraine has sent a shockwave through international food markets, worsening the already dire problem of global hunger by disrupting supply and inflating prices that risk tipping the poorest, most famine-ravaged regions of the planet into political chaos and creating an unprecedented migration crisis, according to David Beasley, the World Food Program Executive Director. Yeah, and you might see one where they come out in the article we've been speaking about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I said them are a family of biblical proportion we're going to affect these regions. See? So, hey, we can see that the plan actually work into play. See? With them that do from them time. And this famine thing I don't know It a plan, and because of the war, it was planned years and years ago, man, to how them wanted it to go. See?
Isaiah 9:19.
This is Lamentation 4 verse 9.
What?
The day that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger.
Go on. So the scripture says, they that is slain with the sword, the weapon, you know, with the machete, the knife, the gun, you name it, is better than them who slay with hunger. With the hunger. Right, so basically die from a weapon, you know, basically more easier than for basically die from hunger.
Which is right, man.
Because your body will basically eat itself. Break down you. Right?
Yeah.
Continue.
For these find a way
Go on.
stricken true for the one of the fruits of the field.
Go on.
Right? The hands of the pitiful woman
Go on.
have sudden their own children.
While them children, go on.
They were meat in the days in the destruction of the daughters of my people.
So they were the meeting, you know, the destruction of the daughters of Lord's people. And that will happen this time for no more, you know, wider scale.
Because famine of biblical proportion.
Go on.
See? And this was something that was happening back in the past. See? And people basically, hey, people are gonna say, boy, we rather go up against these nations and go for food and go raid them country instead of us sit down and just die from hunger. Because if dying from hunger, your body has suffer it. See? This just a sedition gonna come. People are come up against them governments and all them stuff. See?
One put Isaiah 9:19.
This is Isaiah 9 verse
19. Go on.
Okay. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts is the land darkened,
Go on.
and the people shall be as fuel for the fire.
Go on. So the scripture say, the people are going to be what? Fuel for the fire. You know, ultimately what? The ICBM missile fire.
Go on.
You know, that lake of fire we mentioned in Revelation. Scripture say, people are going to be what? The fuel for the fire.
Go on.
Right, go on.
No man shall spare his brother,
Go on.
and he shall snatch on the right hand.
This is how people get hungry at the time to come here. Right, they're going to eat, you know, the flesh off the right hand. Right?
And be hungry,
And still hungry.
Go on.
Still not satisfied. Go on.
and he shall slash, and he shall eat on the left hand,
Go on.
and they shall not be satisfied.
Go on.
They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm.
Go on. So it's cannibalism coming back again.
Yeah, higher level.
On a greater scale this time. And because this famine going to be the greatest famine wherever this basically planet. Right, the famine we're approaching right now. Right, the scripture say, my servant shall eat. Right? So the Lord going to feed us. You know, we believe that. That the Heavenly Father going to feed us. Right? Because, you know, they're going to take big faith, you know, in order to basically make it to all these things to come.
Which is right, man.
Right? You can give the scripture for me, brother, Isaiah 65 and verse 11. Right, go on.
Isaiah 65,
Verse 11.
11.
Go on.
Say, but ye are they that forsaken the Lord.
Go on. So it's supposed to say, ye are they that forsake the Lord. Who are the one that forsake the Lord? Our people.
Go on.
Right? The so-called niggers, you know, Latinos and Native American Indian, which are the true biblical Israelite today. Right? Our people basically forsake the ways of the Heavenly Father.
Go on.
So it's supposed to them trust in oppression and perverseness and stereo on. Right? Go on.
That forget my holy mountain.
They forgot the Lord holy mountain. Go on.
That prepare a table for the truth,
Go on.
for that truth, and that furbish the drink offering unto the number.
Go on. And that furnish and drinks offering unto that number. Continue.
Go on.
Therefore will I number you to the sword.
Go on. So the Heavenly Father say going to number you to the sword. Right? Ultimate sword is the ICBM missiles. Right?
Yeah.
The famine. Right? The pestilence.
Hey. And a lot of you where can't hold your own when the time coming and them start ration out food for you receive that device. See? A lot of you are gonna take it, man. See? Because you never have the word of the Lord with you. Because this is the thing we are gonna sustain. Hey, the men them who truly believe in the latter days to come when them time to come. The word of the Lord, you are washing me shine. Him say him go what? Him servant are gonna eat. But you shall be hungry. See? hey, we are going to drink. And them are going to be thirsty. See? Hopefully we are part of the elect, man. See?
Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter.
God, see what say, all bow down to the slaughter.
Because when I called,
this is a part
ye
of,
have not answered.
this is the point is I'm going to basically get from the scripture. Right, so it's say, because when in call they didn't answer. So when this truth, was basically given unto you, by the men of the Lord, starting from the apostles and elders and down, years, part upon years, we've been saying it, this is a way, right? Walk in it, turn back to the Heavenly Father, before all hell break loose. Right? This is what the scripture said. Because when the Heavenly Father called, right? And scripture tell you that too. In Luke, that the Lord speak through the prophet, since the world began. Right? Wanna good brother?
He said, because when I called, ye have not answered.
You did not answer, you never take heed to this truth.
When
right?
I speak, you did not hear,
and
but did evil before mine eyes.
Do what you feel for do. You do what thou will. That Alistair Crowley thing.
Yeah.
Pushed by these so-called white people. Right? That mindset. Do what you feel for do. Right? One.
And the truth that wherein I delighted not.
Because I say choose this way of life. One.
Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry.
Since people say the Lord say servants are going to eat. Who's the Lord's servants? Amos 3 and verse 7 says, surely the Lord will do nothing, but he will what? Reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Right, so the prophets are the Lord's servants.
And going back to the whole elect.
The elect. Right. One.
But ye shall be hungry.
But ye shall be hungry.
Behold, my servant shall drink,
but
ye shall be thirsty.
So it said, behold, the Lord's servant shall drink, right? But he shall be thirsty. So if we continue on this path, unto the end, the Heavenly Father going to basically feed us, right? They have a lot of accounts in the scripture, of past famine, go through, 4 parents go through during the time, ancient time, going back, way back, if Elijah, and even going back even during the time of the wilderness, Lord basically feed our people with manna.
Yeah.
So all these things, written for our learning today, as according to the scripture saying in Romans 15:4. So whatsoever things wasn't aforetime, wasn't for our learning.
Hey, the Lord, as we say, the Lord do mysterious ways, working in mysterious ways, man. See? Actually the things where look like it's something harsh or come out or something difficult. But guess what? It's a way more work out for you to get you out of a certain situation. So take for instance, even Joseph, at the time when his brothers them sell him in Egypt. See? To go in Egypt. It's basically the Lord put him in that situation there to deliver the children of Israel, man. Because the time, guess what? The time of the famine is going to come. See? And he made up in Egypt to become governor. See? So that thing could have feed his family. See? To preserve the nation, man.
Can ultimately fulfill prophecy.
Yeah.
Alright, go on.
So my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
Gone.
It says, about the article, it says, in an interview with Politico, Beasley warned that Europe must donate more funding urgently, or it will bear the brunt of the fallout. See? Hey, it's going to take place all across the world. Not just over there in Europe or in Africa. But hey, it's going to come over here. Because when we check the situation we're going over here with the world war, you see a whole heap of things happen by design. You see where the Yemenis, them say Yemen, the Houthis in Yemen bomb Saudi Arabia oil field. See? Gas prices that gone up again. War in Ukraine, the fallout with with Russia and the European nations, where they must say, boy, them not going to buy no oil in Russia money. See? Hey, that is not a fallout right now, the G7 nations. So guess what, you know? When the people can't get gas to run them equipments for the farming, even over here in the West, especially in America, see, we produce a lot of things so a lot of people get. Hey, you know, say, hey, like a pop loose, man. It's gonna be great. See? It says we are billions short, he said, failure to provide this year a few extra $1 billion means you're going to have famine, destabilization, and mass migration.
Done.
See? It says Beasley's intervention will sharpen minds as as the EU governments draw up plans to address the food crisis resulting from war, with a proposal expected as early as Wednesday.
And they can't do nothing at all to stop this famine.
It is gonna come, man.
And there's no turning back. The level our reach right now, there's no turning back. And these men, Scripture say, in our Revelation, bring it up from brother, Revelation 12 and 12, right? These wealthy families of the earth, you know, they basically, people say what, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked.
Man.
They know that at the time, they have a basically very short time, right? Their goal is 2030, right? According to what them say. By 2030, you know, you're supposed to, you know, live happy and own nothing.
God.
Right, so they are putting things into place in order to basically get certain things done by them time.
Which is right.
Right? Go on.
The Revelation 12 verse 12.
Go on.
Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them.
Go on.
Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth.
Go on. So you're supposed to say, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Go on.
And of the sea.
Go on.
For the devil is come down unto you.
For the devil is come down unto you. Go on.
Up in great wrath, because he knew it that he had but a short time.
So they know they have a short time in order to complete, in order to basically complete the New World Order agenda. So they are putting things into place, you know, swiftly and speedily, in order to basically get, you know, certain thing across. Right? So there's no turning back, you know, from, you know, all these things to come. Right? Alright, now pause. Full speed ahead. Right, this thing are going. Because we're in another time. You know, we're actually in the time now when this society going to basically get judged. All the wickedness have basically been pushing for years, you know, in this society. All our people go through, you know, from the time of slavery coming up, you know. You know, the time now when these Edomites going to get judged. Because there's no one on the earth who can judge them. They're the one in power.
God, which is right, man.
Right? But the Haushai is coming back to basically remove them from out of power. So everything I'm getting ready now, you know, to basically kickstart, you know, this time of Jacob's trouble, the scripture mentioned, right, in Jeremiah 30 and 7, and also in Daniel, right, because people speak about in the time of trouble, such as never since there was a nation.
God.
So everything we see happening right now across the world is putting things into place in order to basically bring forth this great chaos that will take place on the earth.
Right, man.
Right, go on, finish.
Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth
Gone.
and of the sea.
Gone.
For the devil is come down unto you
Gone.
up in great wrath, because he knew it that he had but a short time.
So they know they have a very short time in order to basically complete the New World Order. Right?
It says, 2 Corinthians 15 and verse 5. It says, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world,
Gone.
the sword, famine, death, and destruction. See?
Gone.
And see, famine, one I think we are talking about now.
Gone.
See, a part of the prophecy will come. See? Hey, the scripture said the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. So we can see, hey, it's all speaking, man. See? See? It says, for wickedness art exceedingly polluted the whole earth,
Gone.
and their earthful works are fulfilled.
Gone.
Then,
So the wickedness of pollute the society. It's a wicked society that we're living in right now, a wicked kingdom, ruled by the wicked. Right? And Yahweh Hashem Shai about to put an end to this madness here. Right? What?
It says, let's jump down to verse 13. Alright. Verse 13, it says, they that till the ground
Gone.
shall mourn for their seeds, shall fail through the blasting and ill, and with a fearful consolation.
Gone.
Yeah, so farmers even start mourning right now. Since them a lose them crop are destroyed because them can't even get fertilizer and all them stuff. See, to fertilize them plant and all them something. So guess what, man? Hey, the scripture says soon the full storehouse shall be empty.
It's suddenly found empty.
Suddenly found empty. See?
Right.
And the sown place shall be unsown.
And goods getting expensive
yeah,
and expensive.
Which is right.
Right? What?
It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
And the word woe means destruction or suffering. Go on.
It says, for the sword and their destruction draw it nigh.
For the sword and their destruction draw it nigh. Right? Right? The ultimate sword, as I mentioned earlier on, which is basically ICBM missile are going to use. these weapons, they were basically created in vain. They created for a purpose.
Can.
Right, and ultimately they're gonna use. Right? That's the reason why I say, you know, this spirit, you know, and basically the Russians them, you know, also in America and also basically in America.
Can.
Right, talking about this whole nuclear thing. Because ultimately gonna take place in the time to come. Right? Nuclear destruction is gonna take place in the time to come.
Which is right.
Russia basically preparing. Right? Also, you know, you have the elites them getting ready. As I mentioned, them getting ready to flee to them bunkers because they know what time it is here. Right, go on?
Says for the sword and their destruction draw it nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
And weapons in their hand, right? Race war, right? Class war. Civil war. Right, go on.
Says for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another.
There shall be what? Sedition among men. So people going to come up against the government. They're going to come up against the police force. Right? Because when things get real serious and people can't, you know, find no food to eat. Right? People Jake going to bug out.
She's right, man.
Right? Jake going to lose it, yo. They take away them hope because, you know, people, them still have hope. Somehow things are going to basically, you know, go back to how they used to because certain free up start going on and one thing. When they reach that point where them say, oh, there's no hope in this society. Is it this? They're going to bug out and they're going to do a lot of crazy things, yo. Right? They're going to go up against the police force because you know the government are going to basically want the food. You know, they have certain people, we have certain amount of food.
A word up.
Food, yeah? In time to come, government are going to send the police or the soldiers to come and take your food from you. Because they're going to want it for rationing. Right? We already seen an example to 2020. You know what take place in Bull Bay. Right? We don't want to complain. So them get you know, locked down and can't get the food and then bring out a little package.
Yeah.
Right? That's a rationing. So that's an example of what to come. Right? So them will basically give you what them basically feels to give you.
God.
Because you can't have certain amount of food in your possession and majority of people don't have. So them will take it and them will determine where you forget.
Yeah.
Right?
Feed you with a
little bit.
This can hold it for the week.
This
can hold it for 1 3 days.
You can hold it for 1 day because you want to scar because you have certain household have 6, 7
pitney night. Yeah.
Right? So how them going to manage?
Hey, and,
right?
And the time I come when that little food will ration out for you, you have to have that certain device to get it from the government.
Ultimately, that's where you're going.
Yeah.
Right? The scripture speak about the hour of temptation. They come up on the world. Right? Go on.
It says, again, verse 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another.
And invading one another. Because people are going to basically, you know, loot. You know? You see it? Because when you go to a certain time, or for example, 3 days, I would say 4, you're going to start thinking about your neighbor house. Right? So your neighbor must have food over there. Yeah. So you have to your neighbor now if you go basically take what your neighbor have. Right? And your neighbor will prepare for you too. So you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you're going to be looting.
Just like for the what is the name? The region. Them call it
MP.
Right? The MP say, oh, that's why the police and the upper class them have guns.
Yeah.
Shoot the poorer class here when these things happen.
Gun. Yeah.
Roughly that was steady.
Yeah, a certain MP out here say that, man. Not actually an MP, but a councillor. A certain councillor out here say that, man. Yeah? Then it says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
It's all about survival. Right, so you're going to have a group up together and they're going to loot. Right, the big house on the hill, you know that them basically them basically have them here already. But in a certain part of the country, we have very rich people live. They're going to come together and they're going to basically loot. Right?
Then time they are going to see the real spirit of Benjamin coming out, man.
And Benjamin alone, the whole
Yeah, well, we know so the whole Jake, but you're going to see the real spirit because they're going to be raving. Then them are farm young. Every man a farm them young. Cause in them time you have the you know say just like we seen some apocalyptic movie, you have man the gang up and them thing when food ration. Cause you have to have one little sec where you know say you control a sec here. You have to go hunt food to feed food a little sec. You have one little sec over there, so you have to raid that little sec there. To feed them food. So yeah, that's why the scripture said they that are in the city shall die of what? Famine, and they that are in the field shall die of sword. So the man in the city have him machine. When he's hungry, where am I good? He might come in the rural area and the countryside, come look the food because he say yes, so the food there, so we are going to hunt them people that food that they have store up.
Like you know, we have a lot of people more time out here in Port Antonio, Parish of Portland, then basically bring certain goods to Kingston to sell. So when things get really serious, then people there at Kingston are going to say, yeah, food must be a country.
Yeah.
And sing about it in the song, yeah? Say food there in a country drop off of the tree.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have no time to pick ripe on the tree them time. I bring food. Now I have no time to pick full. See? Hey, you could have banana them might eat them young.
Can you have a scripture say that still? The fruits are going ripe and now basically but now they forget it.
Yeah.
Right? Go on.
See? It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, men shall be afraid.
And men shall be afraid.
They want about the woman them.
Gone.
Men are going to be afraid.
Gone. Because if a man will cry like a woman, it should be afraid. Right? So without Yahweh Hashem, you cannot make it to, the time to come. Right? The only way to escape all these things about to come upon the earth is through the Heavenly Father. Right? The scripture says to you, the much tribulation you're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, because it's not going to be an easy slide through. We're going to catch a lot of help. But Yahweh Hashem shall be with us if we continue, on this path sincerely. Until the end, we're going to basically get, protected. We're going to basically get feed, as scripture said. Right? We just have to just continue on this path. Right?
It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword.
With the weapon, gun. Yeah. Run in your house. Until take away basically what you have. Right? And
spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation.
Lack of bread, for shortage of food. So the shortage of food is preparing the whole food crisis we're seeing right now in the news. That get worse and worse because ultimately going to lead to famine. Right? But the scripture tells us. So man, I'm going to basically have no pity upon his neighbor.
Which is right, man.
Spoiling goods because of what? The lack of bread, because of the lack of food, shortage of food.
Yeah, man.
So a lot of people going to bug the hell out when this famine start to really sweep this world up, seriously, right? When it really get to that level,
when shit hit the fan,
a lot of people gonna lose it,
Because right? A lot of people see certain things going on right now, like especially the war in Ukraine and people been putting up memes and the internet are making TikTok videos joking about what's going on and all them stuff. Yeah, hey, the time is gonna come when there are those TikTok thing and memes you have put up, man. you have to go hunt food because they say the thing I go right now. See? It says 2 Ezra 16 and verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? See? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning. The beginning of famine and great death.
So we see the whole food thing we see in the news now, well, food crisis, the hiking of the food price, the gas and all these things, the big enough for what to come. Because I don't know really started. Right?
Joe Biden come out the other day and him say food shortage is gonna be in America. See? So he said you're gonna have food shortage, man. The president said that.
Because the sure said they don't hide nothing no more. They might tell you plain and straight.
Yes.
They're going to have a food shortage. They might tell us, New World Order. They're coming openly with everything now.
Yeah.
Because they don't reach that point now. Right? But them have to basically, bring in certain things in order to basically get, all these measures and all these things across. And the main thing is what? The MOTB. Right? You notice one of the main thing you're speaking about now too, also, is CBDC. right, a digital currency.
Yeah.
Because Esau Edom want basically move over to a digital society. Want done away with all paper currency and go digital.
And that's
Right?
That's,
So them
that's,
can basically get everything, basically monitor. Right? And basically determine where you basically do and where you not do.
That's program of my money.
Can.
That's money gonna program how you spend it. See? It says the beginning of wars and the poor shall stand in fear.
Can.
The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come?
Can.
See? It says, behold, famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness,
Can.
nor be always mindful of the scourges.
So say, but for all these things that are taking place right now in the world, our people still not going to turn from their wickedness. Right? Or be mindful of the scourges.
Yeah, man.
Until that time. Right? When they're going to basically be too late. And then our people are going to really want to, sincerely, basically find out how and try to basically see it, even the Father, as Scripture says. Right?
Then, let's jump to verse 22. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape this hunger shall the sword
many
destroy.
of them that dwell upon the earth. So a lot of people are going to die of hunger. Right? This is a future prophecy going to take place in full effect. Right? So many of them that dwell upon the earth shall basically perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger. So all who escape the hunger. One?
The hunger shall the sword destroy.
The weapon is going to destroy.
Yeah.
Right?
And the dead shall be cast out as dung. And there shall be no man to comfort them.
So you're going to have a lot of dead bodies, right across the world. Lying in the streets, the bushes, even the water. And nobody not going to bury them. It's expensive now to basically bury your loved one. But in that time to come, nobody not care about the dead.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody even going to think about the dead yard. And a candlelight, like when somebody dead now, family member worry about money for basically, spend for basically put on candlelight and night. In that time to come, nobody not going to worry about that. Right?
Yeah, not here. I think more survival for himself. Then it says, there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Yeah, it's coming.
Right. So that I say all praise and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh. And double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers and out there pushing this truth in our sincerity and all honesty. Shalom.
Shalom.